Hey guys, I wanted to make this video for the possible mods available to a Marshall DSL15H. I was led here from the Marshall forum, specifically started by a member named Johnny Eggs. So I want to thank Johnny Eggs and Cyber MGK for their input on that thread. And a lot of you that are watching this have landed here because of that thread, or will be landing here because of that thread. Just recording this video today because I want to show you people exactly how these mods are done. There's a lot of false stuff early in that thread about clipping stuff, and basically what I did is it led me to really research the schematics and find out exactly how to do these conversions. So basically what I'm going to do today is show you guys how to convert the lead 2 channel of the ultra channel of the DSL15H to the lead 1 channel of a Marshall DSL40C and 100H. Basically the same schematics. The 40 and the 100H have basically 4 modes: clean, crunch, lead 1 and lead 2. Most people won't need lead 2, so that's why you're here, because unfortunately the DSL15H has a lot of potential, but it only comes with the clean channel and lead 2. So what we're out to do here is change lead 2 to lead 1. It's very easy to do, and also I'm going to talk about some other mods that I've done to this amp that you can benefit from greatly. So basically I always wanted a 15 watt Marshall. For some reason you think about Marshall, you think of 100 watts and 4x12 cabs, but you know, I just wanted something for my studio that had a nice Marshall sound, and I could play at bedroom volumes, and if I need to crank it, hey, 15 watts is plenty. So and you can mic a cab anytime you need more volume. So I wanted a 15 watt version, and this had a lot of potential, and I was really attracted to this one because it shared the same circuit as the 40C and the 100H. Anyway, don't want to blab too much. I want to get right to it. So first of all, a lot of the things you'll see, if you look at the schematics, I actually found the schematics here. This is the just the ultra section, the lead section of the both amps. So this is the 40C, which is the same as the 100H, and this is the 15H. So basically what happens here with the 40C is that when you switch to lead 2, basically what it does is it removes this 150K resistor from the circuit. It also now removes this 10M resistor in series with C20, because the signal will then just flow this way and it will bypass the 10M circuit. And what it does here also when it switches here is it bypasses this 10K resistor in series with the cathode bypass cap labeled C13. So switching to lead 2 here basically removes 10K here, it removes the 10M here, and it removes the 150K resistor here, which is the missing load resistor on the gain pot of the ultra channel. Which basically what it does, it gives you this, which is what we have in the 15H. So what we need to do is we need to tame this channel. So everything else, all other values in this circuit are exactly the same. There's only 3 things you have to do to convert this lead 2 channel to this lead 1, and that's simply this. On the 40C, when the lead 1 is engaged, it adds this 150K resistor to the circuit. It also adds this 10M resistor in series with C20, which reduces the buzz on this channel, and it also adds this resistor in series to the negative leg of the cathode bypass capacitor, reducing gain even more. So it's very easy to do these 3 mods, and I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So basically, the first thing we need to do is add the 150K resistor that's missing here. And right there it is. You can see it's not fitted. Lucky for us, and I don't know why they did this, but Marshall gave us this spot on the motherboard. They just didn't put a resistor there. That spot is right here. Okay, R82 right there. Okay, so this spot was missing. There was nothing in here. So I added that resistor myself. Now, if you want to do this the right way, you need to basically remove the motherboard from here. If you want to do this the right way, the right thing to do is to remove these connectors. And what I did was I labeled each wire. So you can see the motherboard slots each have They're labeled anywhere a wire plugs in. So if you wanted this the right way, I labeled each single wire that was connected to the motherboard with the corresponding number on the motherboard. And I disconnected them, and I removed the screws holding the motherboard down. And I removed the motherboard, and I did all the soldering from underneath. If you do it that way, you get a much cleaner work, and you also you save the risk of burning traces on the motherboard. If you want to solder from the top, a lot of people do, you got to be careful. You want to use no more than a 30-watt iron, and you want to be really, really quick. Or you can just snip the legs and solder to the existing legs. But I wanted to do clean work, so I just took everything out and I did for everything from underneath. This is not going to be a soldering tutorial. Basically, if you don't know how to solder, you shouldn't be doing this. Or take it to somebody who can. But most people who are here have soldered pots and pickups and have basic knowledge of soldering. If you're not comfortable doing that, at least you have the knowledge of what to tell your tech to do. So basically, I added R82, that's 150K resistor. That is the biggest move. That's going to add the missing load resistor to the pot. So that's basically what we're doing, is we're adding this. Lucky for us, Marshall gave us that spot. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to add a 10M resistor in series to the ground leg of this resistor, which is the equivalent here of C75. A lot of guys just clip this out. I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like to clip stuff. I like to leave stuff in the circuit, and I wanted to keep this as close as I could to the original DSL100. So I left this in, this 470p, because older DSLs didn't have this equivalent capacitor in the circuit. So I guess you could remove it, but I wanted to keep it more like this. So I left it in the circuit and just added the 10M resistor in series, and that's this resistor right back there, okay? You can see C75, and there is the 10M resistor. I had to remove the old resistor because there was not enough leg to solder anything to it. So I replaced the 470p resistor with a new one, and I added a 10M resistor in series to that leg back there. And basically what that did is it added this. So we added this, we added this. One more is we need to add a 10K resistor to the negative leg of electrolytic capacitor C34, which is up here. Some people in the forum, they clipped this and they ended up putting it back because it didn't sound right. So you definitely don't want to clip this. You want to, it sounds better with a cap there and then with the resistor. So what we did is C34, we needed to add a 10K resistor, and C34 is right over here, okay? And that's it. So I took the old 1UF electrolytic capacitor off, replaced it with a new one, and this is the negative leg. You can see it's labeled positive right there on the motherboard. This is the positive leg, that's the negative leg, and we added a 10K resistor in series, soldered it, twisted it, and now basically what we did is we added that 10K resistor, and that's it. Those three things, adding R82, adding the 10M resistor in series to the ground leg of this 470pf Cabot C75, and adding this 10K resistor here to the negative leg of C34. Basically, you have successfully converted the lead 2 channel on the DSL15H to lead 1. There's a couple other things that went a little further here. Cyber MGK and others, and Johnny Eggs in that thread, what they did is they experimented with a value here. This resistor right here, okay? And this is the cathode resistor. So it's 1.8K, and it's also 1.8K on the DSL40. You technically don't have to do anything here, but what they did is they increased the value here, and I did as well. I changed that R40 to 2.7K, so I removed the 1.8K, changed it to 2.7. What that does, it cools the bias and reduces gain even more. So if you want more of a vintagey tone, you can increase the value here. Some guys went as high as 5.6, but a lot of people said 2.7 was a sweet spot. And I went with 2.7 because if you look at the old Plexis and the JCM 800s, they have a 2.7 equivalent here. So hey, if it's good enough for a JCM, it's good enough for DSL, right? So I went with a 2.7 here, and that is R40, and that is located right here, right in front of C34. Okay, so this had a metal film blue one, just like these. At 1.8, I removed it and replaced it with a 2.7K to reduce some gain even more. Okay, you don't have to do that, but that's an extra thing I ended up doing. And I like the results very, very much. Another thing we did, a lot of guys in that thread there, it did what's called the bright cap mod. And basically what that does is, it's known as a C19 mod on the DSL40. So basically what happens is, if you look at the clean channel, the clean channel has what's called a bright cap of 100p. So the problem with switching between the clean, I don't have the clean schematic in front of me here, but I do have it on my phone. When switching between the clean and the dirty channel and the gain channel, what happens is you get a really high frequency. It's very, very trebly, and it becomes an unusable switchable amp, because you're switching from, you have it dialed in, the EQ is perfect, and then you switch to gain, and then you get this really high trebly tone. So what a lot of people do is they clip this. And again, just like clipping C34, a lot of people ended up putting it back in. A lot of people who clipped C19 ended up putting another value in there. You don't want to clip it. And clipping this also makes an overcompressed sound, doesn't have that organic sound, so you always want to have something there. That's why I ended up doing a series by adding the 10K. But getting back to this one, you want to put something there. So what we did is, most people in that forum who did these mods said that I think between 120 and 180 was the sweet spot. And what that does, when you switch between back and forth, you sort of keep the same usable frequency, and it's not as drastic as far as the alteration in frequency. I ended up going with the 120. If you want to keep exactly the same value, you want 100 PF, because that's what the green channel. So the equivalent bright cap for the clean channel is C74 right here. And that's the bright cap for the clean channel. You can see it's 100 PF, okay? The one that was here, C76, that's the bright cap for the ultra channel. You can see I put a 120 silver mica cap in there. It was 470 in there. Again, a lot of people had to snip that off. You don't want to snip it. You want to put something there. Most people, 120 to 180 was the sweet spot. I went with 120 because it was closer to the 100. And it sounds beautiful. I switched between the clean channel and the ultra channel, and there's no perceived difference in frequency response. So that's the last mod I did as far as the circuit is concerned. So again, we converted lead 2 to lead 1 by adding this resistor in series to the back leg here of C75, adding this missing resistor here, R82, and adding this resistor here, this 10K resistor, to the negative leg of C34. Then I did an additional mod by changing the 1.8 to 2.7 here. And I did the bright cap mod, which replacing this 470 PF to 120, okay? And that really made this amp into a special amp, and it really made it my dream amp. I now have the low power that I want for my studio. It's also plenty loud if I want to crank it. I have my clean channel, I have my lead 1 channel. I'll never need lead 2. And you don't really need clean crunch mode on a 15 watt amp, because this is why we buy 15 watt amps, right? Because you can crank them and knock the snot out of them and really get them driving and cooking. So you get your own real clean crunch on this amp. So basically gives me everything I've ever wanted in an amp in Universal. I also like the 15 because it uses 66s. So it has a lot of that Fendery sound, which I like. I've always played Fender amps. So, it gets me that Fender clean and the clean channel, but it also gives me that nice Marshall tone on the lead channel. Another thing I did is I added an effects loop. Okay, so if you go to, George Metropolis, who's known for making awesome hand-built, hand-wired Marshall plexi clones, he makes this effects loop right here, and it's called the Metro Amp effects loop board. It's only $60, and it's only officially supported if you use it in a plexi or a 2003 or 2000 2203, 2204 amp. But I was able to install it in here, and I'll show you how I did that. Basically, when you get this board, it comes with a kit. This is the kit it came with. So it came with some resistors. It came with a switch, which I never used, because you can use it if you want. I didn't want to use it because I'm the kind of guy that likes my effects loops to work like a traditional. If it's engaged, it works, and if it's not engaged, it bypasses. And that's how it's set up by default. And it comes with instructions as well. But basically, you want to find a spot where to put it. So I found a spot right here, which is pretty empty, and it was a perfect spot for it. And then over here, I use an 8 ohm speaker, so I end up making just a green nut here so in the dark I can not plug into the wrong board. So I got this plastic nut on eBay. But anyway, this was a good spot for it. And I ended up hanging it here. And basically this is very easy to install. There's only 4 wires that come out of this here. There's a ground wire. Let me put some light on here, see if I can get some better lighting. There's a ground wire that's attached to the bottom of this. And basically all you have to do is drill a lug here and ground it to the chassis. Okay, so there's only 4 wires that come out of here. So the ground wire, which is already installed onto the board, just really set it up here. There's this wire here. This is the B plus, the B positive. This has to be powered off the B positive. So basically you have to test the B positive on the amp and add a resistor in series. You have to use a 2-watt metal oxide resistor, but the value changes based on here. There's a calculation that shows you how to do it in the instructions. I don't remember what the value of this resistor I ended up using. But again, it's all in the instructions. So you take a wire from the B positive that's on this part right here, take a 2-watt metal oxide, whatever value resistor, and then run it along here, and you want to solder it on this part of R23 right there. Okay, that goes off of V4. That gives you the B positive power needed for that motherboard. Okay, so we got the ground, we got the B positive, and 2 more. So basically there's an in and an out. Okay, there's an in and an out, you can see right there. So the in comes from this part of R53. Okay, this wire right over here, the one facing the back. The reason it goes here is if you look at the schematics here, I have the output section right here, right before the inverter. Okay, so this is the 40C. This is the 15H. You can see here, the last resistor before the phase inverter is R53, which is where I was just showing you right now. There's a 10K resistor there. If you go to the 40C, the last resistor is in the same location, but it's a 1K instead of a 10K. Okay, on the 15 you have a 10K, on the 40 you have a 1K here, and this is where they put the effects loop, the built-in effects loop on the 40C. So this is exactly where I put mine, right at R53, which goes right to the phase inverter, which is where you always want your effects loop. You want it right before the phase inverter, and this preamp out goes right to the phase inverter. So this is where we needed to put the effects loop, so I put it right at R53. And so basically we're taking the signal that goes into R53 into the effects loop, and that's what we did here. Okay, so we have here R53, and this goes to the in of the motherboard. Okay, and then the output here is that 1K. Now I removed the 10K that was originally here. So there was that 10K that was here. I removed that. We're going to replace it with a 1K. So I went in series from the out. Okay. In series, that's the 1K half-watt resistor. So we went out in series into that, and then back into here. And that's the input to the phase inverter right there. Okay. You could have put the resistor on this end as well. Doesn't really matter if it was on this end or that end, as long as it's in series to complete this circuit that we have right here. Okay, and that's it. So there's basically 4 wires that go to this. So I had my tech do this because I didn't want to drill stuff into the chassis and ruin it. But I gave him the instruction. He did it for me. But you know, not hard to drill this and put it in yourself. So the effects loop's easy. 4 cables, the in, the out, and I showed you where they go, and then the ground, and then the B positive. And now you have an effects loop that's actually better than the one that comes on the 40 and the 100. And lastly, anytime you have a tube amp with a solid state rectifier, you always want a standby switch, because with a rectifier, With a tube rectifier, you don't really need it because the tube rectifier warms up slowly, which delivers the power to the preamp tube slowly as it warms up. But with a solid state rectifier tube amp, like a DSL, you got to have a standby switch here, because as soon as you turn the power on, it really rushes that power to the preamp tubes, and it can really shorten their life. So I wanted a standby switch here. It's also nice to have for a convenient, if you're gigging or you want a little break, you can just turn off the power, turn off the sound without having to turn the amp off and recook it. I didn't do the standby switch, my amp tech did, but it looks like something very easy that he did. It didn't really. So basically, these red cables here come from the power transformer down here, and it looks like they might have been plugged into here. So it looks like basically all he did was add the switch here and move the wires that were here into the switch, and then ran another set from here and back to where they were. I'm assuming that's what he did, so I don't know exactly what he did there, but it doesn't look like anything difficult. And this is, I think, a Carling Technologies, I don't know if you can read it there. It says Carling Technologies, 15 amp, I guess, switch, but I don't know if you can read that. Anyway, so that's it. Basically anything you'd ever want done to a DSL15. You got the lead one conversion, you got the bright cap mod done, you got a high quality effects loop, and you got a standby switch. You can't really ask for more than that. And that's it. I got some NOS tubes in there because I like NOS. I got a 12 RCA 12X AX7A in V1 and V2. I got a Telefunk in West German, smooth plate in V3. I got a GE 1958 long gray plate in V4, and I got some Raytheon 66s, which sound incredible. And that's pretty much it. So it doesn't take a lot of work, and really turns this into the best amp the best low-powered amp you could ever want. So I hope this helps you guys out. I wanted to show visually what needs to be done, and clear up a lot of mistakes that were in those forums about clipping stuff out. So I showed you the schematics. Basically, that's all you got to do. I hope this helped you guys out. You don't have to subscribe to this channel. I don't really have a channel. I don't have any videos up. I really just did this to help you guys out, because this is a great amp, and I'm really enjoying it, and just want to show you guys visually what you can turn this amp into. So sorry for the low quality video. I'm not good with video editing. I just wanted to do this real quickly to show you guys. But I hope you guys like it. Hope it helps you guys out. And thanks for watching.